Let's talk royals. Well, last week it was dominated, wasn't it, about Prince Andrew? What didn't he know? Was he going to be losing his titles? Was he going to be ousted from his home? Well, it certainly looks like he is going to be leaving his 30-room mansion in Windsor, Royal London.
In a move that left royal insiders completely stunned, Sarah Ferguson has reportedly made a jaw-dropping refusal that triggered a staggering £1.5 million financial blow for her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. What was supposed to be a bright royal venture has now spiraled into a scandal that threatens to strain already fragile family ties across the monarchy. Sources reveal that Fergie's decision wasn't just unexpected, it was deeply personal. But what could push a mother to risk her daughter's fortunes? Today, we uncover the real story behind that shocking no. The mansion that was meant to be a home for Beatrice and Eugenie never became one. Life as royal daughters was meant to be filled with security, stability, and the quiet grace of privilege they deserved. They were the cherished granddaughters of Queen Elizabeth II, the very apples of her eye, as insiders later recalled. After the messy and very public collapse of their parents' marriage, the Queen's greatest wish was to protect her granddaughters from the emotional wreckage that followed in 1997. She tried to do exactly that with a gift intended to change everything for their young lives. That gift was Birch Hall, a magnificent Georgian mansion tucked away in the serene village of Wyndham. With 7 bedrooms, sweeping lawns, and a quiet charm, it whispered of peace, permanence, and a life away from the chaos. It seemed like the perfect fresh start, purchased through trustees acting on behalf of Her Majesty. The property was meant to become a sanctuary, a private haven for Beatrice and Eugenie, far from headlines, far from the tension of royal scandal and gossip. Just a year earlier, in 1996, the divorce between Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson had been finalised, a split that had not only captured global attention, but embarrassed the monarchy. Cameras trailed every move, tabloids feasted on every rumour, and the York family found themselves trapped between duty, embarrassment, and public scrutiny. The Queen, ever the matriarch, wanted to restore some sense of normalcy. She believed a home like Birch Hall could heal emotional wounds. Nestled behind high hedges and iron gates, the mansion carried the quiet dignity of English aristocracy, grand, graceful, elegant, and yet never ostentatious. Everything a royal retreat should be, and yet despite all that promise, the house would never become a home. When the moment came, Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, said no. The reasons remain shrouded in mystery. Some suggest it was pride, a refusal to accept royal charity after years of public humiliation. Others whisper principle. She wanted her daughters' lives outside the Queen's reach, free from royal rules and conditions. And money may have played its role too. The Duchess reportedly struggled to manage the property's financial responsibilities and obligations. Whatever the truth, that single decision carried huge consequences. The mansion, reportedly worth around £1.5 million, slipped away. What was meant to be Beatrice and Eugenie's sanctuary became a symbol of lost opportunity, a home that could have anchored them after chaos and provided long-awaited stability. Over the years, the York family's troubles only deepened. Prince Andrew's ties to disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein exploded into a scandal that left lasting scars on the monarchy. King Charles, now the head of the family, faced mounting public pressure to strip Andrew of his royal titles. At one event, he was even heckled by angry crowds demanding accountability. A moment that revealed just how exhausted the public had grown of royal controversies. The memory of Birch Hall haunts like a ghost. It represents the crossroads where compassion and pride collided, where a single word, no, shaped the trajectory of an entire branch of the royal family. For Beatrice and Eugenie, it wasn't just a missed inheritance, it was a lost sense of belonging, a home that could have grounded their lives in calm after years of chaos and heartbreak. Today, as the royal family faces fresh waves of scrutiny, the ghost of that lost home still lingers, a silent reminder that even royal fortunes can hinge on one decision. But what could truly drive a duchess to turn down a future meant for her daughters? Pride, regret, or something the public may never know? Stay with us. The sanctuary that slipped away in 1997 came at a time when the York family was desperately in need of stability. Princess Beatrice was just 8 years old, and her younger sister Eugenie only 6. two children caught in the emotional crossfire of their parents' turbulent divorce. For Queen Elizabeth II, their pain had not gone unnoticed, and she quietly hoped they could find some peace amidst the storm. Birch Hall, the elegant Georgian mansion arranged to be purchased in Surrey, was meant to be far more than just a gift. It was a symbol of healing, a home where laughter could replace headlines, where the girls could grow up shielded from the constant gaze of a relentless press, where their childhood might have been safe from royal chaos and intrusion. Yet that sanctuary never came to be. Reports later revealed that Sarah Ferguson, still adjusting to life after the divorce, quietly refused to move in. Though the decision was made silently, its impact would echo for decades. According to those close to her, it came down to finances. Despite its royal promise, Birch Hall carried royal-sized costs. The heating bills alone were said to be enormous, and maintaining acres of manicured gardens required immense effort and resources. Add in a tennis court, a swimming pool, and a full household staff, and it was clear that Fergie simply could not manage it. How could a duchess, once married to the Queen's son, not afford to live in a royal home? Beneath the glamour, however, Sarah Ferguson's financial struggles were well known. Her marriage ended amid scandal and public humiliation, and though she remained on good terms with Prince Andrew, she was largely left to rebuild her life independently, navigating the scrutiny and pressures of royal life on her own. The Queen had offered a refuge, but Fergie, perhaps out of pride or practicality, declined. Instead, she chose to remain at Sunning Hill Park, the same red brick mansion she had once shared with Andrew, a wedding gift from the Queen back in 1986. Despite their divorce, Sarah and Andrew maintained an unusually close bond, continuing to live under the same roof for years afterward. It was a puzzling arrangement for the public, yet for Sarah, it offered familiarity and perhaps a sense of security she wasn't ready to relinquish. Meanwhile, Birch Hall stood silent for 2 long years. Its grand halls echoed only with the faint memory of what might have been. By 1999, the property was quietly sold for £1.5 million, a neutral transaction on paper, but a deep loss in hindsight. Had the Yorks kept it, the estate's value today would be nearly £5 million, an incredible missed fortune for Beatrice and Eugenie. But what they lost wasn't just money. Birch Hall represented a future where the sisters could have been raised in stability, surrounded by history, grace, and the quiet dignity of the royal household. It was a Grade II listed Georgian masterpiece, one of Surrey's architectural treasures, built in the early 18th century and preserved through generations. Inside were 7 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 5 reception rooms, and a separate 2-bedroom cottage for staff. The estate featured every luxury imaginable: a tennis court, heated outdoor pool, gym, media and games room, orangery, and acres of lush parkland. It wasn't just a home, it was a royal legacy waiting to be passed down. Over time, Prince Andrew's own standing within the royal family began to collapse. His ties to disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein caused immense damage to the monarchy's reputation. When he was stripped of his Duke of York title, royal watchers worried it might affect Beatrice and Eugenie's own royal status. Yet the princesses retained their royal styles, remaining Her Royal Highnesses, even as their father's scandals continued to cast a long shadow over them. Still, questions lingered. What if their mother had accepted the Queen's offer? What if Birch Hall had become their true home, a refuge from scandal and sorrow alike? The answers, like the mansion itself, remain out of reach, lost somewhere between pride, circumstance, and the quiet tragedies that shape even royal lives. Could Birch Hall have been more than a lost home? Could it have held the key to everything? The Yorks sacrificed in silence and secrecy. Decades later, the ghost of Birch Hall still hovers over the family, not as a physical place, but as a symbol of what might have been. Conversations about the lost mansion have resurfaced in recent months, reigniting the same haunting question that seems to follow every story about the Yorks. Where did it all go wrong? Just as Birch Hall once represented a promise of stability, another royal residence, Royal Lodge, has now become the latest centre of turmoil and speculation. At the time of its purchase, estate agents described Birch Hall as one of the finest homes in northern Surrey, a gem among the countryside's most beautiful estates, exactly as it had been envisioned. It was the kind of property that could have anchored Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie's futures, a home to build memories in, to raise families of their own one day, and eventually to pass down as part of their heritage. But that dream slipped quietly through their fingers. Birch Hall was sold, renovated, and now belongs to private owners who have reconfigured it beyond recognition. The grand hallways that might once have echoed with royal laughter now belong to strangers, and the home that was meant to nurture them is gone forever. The Queen's promise has become a distant memory. Ironically, Birch Hall's story mirrors the York family's present struggles. Prince Andrew, once favoured and protected, now finds himself under relentless scrutiny for over 20 years. He has lived at Royal Lodge, a sprawling 30-room mansion on the Windsor estate, but even his grip on it appears to be slipping. Once, he reportedly hoped to keep the property in the family, perhaps even as a gift for Beatrice and Eugenie, but that vision has long faded. Mounting financial pressures, public outrage, and quiet interventions from King Charles have left Andrew facing the same reality his daughters once did, the loss of a home that was supposed to last forever. Reports have revealed that Andrew has paid little to no rent on the property over the past 2 decades, and even basic maintenance costs, from water rates to household repairs, have allegedly gone unsettled. Despite this, both he and his former wife, Sarah Ferguson, have remained unusually close, clinging to the remnants of a shared past. They still share the house, holding on to what feels like the last piece of their old royal life. Behind palace doors, there are murmurs that they may agree to move, but only if they are granted 2 separate residences to replace it. Meanwhile, Beatrice and Eugenie have quietly stepped away from the chaos. Their visits to Royal Lodge have become rare. Princess Beatrice, now married to Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi, lives in the Cotswolds with their young family. Their €3.5 million farmhouse, surrounded by rolling fields and countryside calm, embodies everything Birch Hall was meant to be. A private, peaceful, family-centred home far from the royal spotlight. It's a life built on privacy rather than privilege. Princess Eugenie, on the other hand, splits her time between Ivy Cottage at Kensington Palace and a home in Portugal, where her husband Jack Brooksbank works in hospitality. Her life, much like her sister's, blends royal legacy with modern independence. Both women have chosen balance over title, raising their children quietly and maintaining a respectful but distant relationship with the institution that shaped their lives. They no longer hold active royal roles, nor do they receive public funding, but their presence still matters, subtle, understated, and sincere. Away from palace grandeur, they have quietly built lives defined not by duty, but by purpose. Through charity work, mental health advocacy, and community outreach, they have shown that influence can exist without a title and grace without a spotlight. Their involvement in social causes, from children's welfare to environmental awareness, reflects a modern understanding of service, one less about crowns and more about genuine connection. They attend fewer royal events, but when they do, their warmth feels real. Their words are unfiltered by palace protocol, often judged against tradition. Their quiet contributions serve as a reminder that empathy, integrity, and humility can be just as royal as any throne. And yet, as the wind stirs through the ancient trees surrounding Royal Lodge, one cannot help but feel the lingering echoes of Birch Hall, the house that never was, the home that could have been. Its story still clings to the air like a half-forgotten promise, whispering of what might have unfolded had fate been kinder. For the Yorks, it stands as more than just a property. It is a symbol of lost chances, of love constrained by protocol, and of the fragile, often heartbreaking intersection between royal duty and the quiet ache of human longing. How did a mansion meant to heal old wounds become a haunting reminder of what the Yorks could never hold on to? Stay glued. The house that never heard their laughter, the story of Birch Hall, refuses to fade. It lingers quietly but unrelenting, like a ghost in the background of royal history, reminding us that even those born into crowns and castles are not immune to life's sharp turns. For the York family, it stands as both a symbol and a warning, a story of what was offered, what was lost, and what was never truly recovered. When the house was placed back on the market in 2016, its grandeur still dazzled. Listed for €4.2 million, Birch Hall was described by estate agent Andrew Russell as a proper country house with spectacular gardens. The photos showed rolling lawns, manicured hedges, and sunlight spilling across centuries-old brickwork, a dream of a home worthy of royalty. Yet behind that polished beauty was a secret rarely spoken of in public. This was the home that was supposed to rewrite the future of two young princesses, Beatrice and Eugenie, and instead became another silent witness to the Yorks' unravelling fortunes. In the late 1990s, Queen Elizabeth II had envisioned Birch Hall as a fresh beginning for her granddaughters. It was meant to be the place where the pain of their parents' divorce could soften, where the girls could grow up away from scrutiny, and where the Duchess of York could rebuild her life in peace. But that promise never came to life. Sarah Ferguson's decision to turn it down, whether out of financial strain, pride, or quiet defiance, sealed the mansion's fate. For years it stood empty, its halls echoing with nothing but the hum of passing time. When it was eventually sold, it left the royal circle quietly, like a secret no one wanted to admit. While its new owners restored and renovated it into a modern countryside showpiece, what remained beneath its fresh coat of paint was a history written in hesitation and lost opportunities. Perhaps the saddest part is what never happened there. Beatrice and Eugenie never celebrated birthdays in its gardens, never woke up to Christmas mornings by its fireplaces, never ran through its wide corridors as laughter filled the air. A home bought with love by a grandmother who wanted to give them safety and belonging became just another what-if in the long, complicated story of the Yorks. Today, the house stands as a quiet monument to lost chances. Its value has tripled since the day it was bought, now worth nearly €5 million. But its emotional worth is beyond measure. It was supposed to be a foundation for two young girls. Instead, it became another chapter in a family saga defined by missed opportunities, heartbreak, and reminders of what money, power, and royal titles can't always fix. As time has passed, Beatrice and Eugenie have forged their own paths, independent, resilient, and far removed from the storms that once surrounded their family. Yet the shadow of those early years remains. Every headline about Prince Andrew, every controversy surrounding Royal Lodge seems to pull them back into a story they never asked to be part of. And now, as the world watches the monarchy evolve under King Charles, questions are once again being asked. What will become of their father's home? What role will the York sisters play in a royal landscape that no longer guarantees privilege without purpose? Their story, from Birch Hall to Royal Lodge, is not just about houses or titles. It's about inheritance in its truest form, not of wealth, but of wounds. They inherited a legacy built on love and duty, but also on loss and denial. Though the doors of Birch Hall have long closed to them, its memory continues to whisper, a reminder that even in the world of queens and crowns, the most valuable homes are the ones that were never lived in, yet never forgotten. Now, what did Sarah Ferguson's latest move uncover? A quiet act of independence, or the start of another royal reckoning? Stay tuned. History repeats at Royal Lodge. Sarah Ferguson may have let go of her title as Duchess of York years ago, but the ripples of her choices still shape the York family story today. As her ex-husband, Prince Andrew, faces his own reckoning, their lives seem caught in a strange loop of history, one where every decision echoes the past. And at the heart of that story lies the lost mansion of Birch Hall, a place that was supposed to be a new beginning, but became instead a symbol of what the family could never quite hold on to. Birch Hall was never just a house. It was a promise, a 7-bedroom Georgian masterpiece set among Surrey's quiet countryside, purchased by Queen Elizabeth II in 1997 as a refuge for her granddaughters, Beatrice and Eugenie. A safe space after the turmoil of their parents' divorce, but the dream never materialized. Sarah Ferguson declined the offer, citing the overwhelming costs of maintaining such a grand estate, and the house sat empty for years, its silence reflecting a family frozen between privilege and consequence. By the time Birch Hall resurfaced on the market in 2016, it was priced at €4.2 million. Transformed by new owners, the estate dazzled once more. Estate agent Andrew Russell called it a proper country house with spectacular gardens. Yet behind the glossy photos and manicured lawns lay a hidden sadness that no renovation could erase. This was the home that never heard the laughter of two royal daughters. No birthday candles lit, no winter mornings by the fire, no shared memories carved into its walls. Bought with love by their grandmother, it was left behind through circumstance and misfortune. It now stands as a quiet monument to lost opportunity. And yet, as the years pass, the pattern seems to continue relentlessly. The York family once again finds itself tangled in another housing dilemma, this time at the Royal Lodge after more than 2 decades of living together under one roof. Reports suggest that Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson are preparing to leave the 30-room Windsor mansion they've called home since the early 2000s, but the move is far from simple. Insiders claim that despite their divorce and separate lives, the former couple have requested 2 new royal residences, one for each of them. The timing has raised eyebrows. Only weeks earlier, Sarah quietly sold her €4 million home in London's exclusive Mayfair district. The sale came as a surprise, especially now that she appears to be seeking another property from the Crown estate. Critics have called the situation tone-deaf, pointing out that King Charles, under mounting public and political pressure, is working to streamline royal expenses and reduce the number of taxpayer-supported homes within the monarchy. For the public, it feels like déjà vu, another chapter in the York family's complicated saga of privilege, property, and personal consequence. And for Beatrice and Eugenie, it must be painfully familiar. Once again, their parents' living arrangements are making headlines, overshadowing their own quiet, grounded lives. Princess Beatrice, now a mother and wife living in the Cotswolds, has chosen simplicity over spectacle. Her sister, Princess Eugenie, divides her time between London and Portugal, focusing on her family and charitable work. Both have carved paths far from palace walls, yet every time the past resurfaces, they are drawn back into the same royal drama they've tried so hard to leave behind. From Birch Hall to Royal Lodge, the cycle continues. Homes lost, dreams reshaped by circumstance, walls changing, prices rising, but the story remains eerily the same. A family forever caught between privilege and restraint, love and responsibility, inheritance and loss. And for Beatrice and Eugenie, the hardest lesson may be that even in the rarefied world of royalty, some legacies are built not on what you inherit, but on what you must learn to let go. So what do you think of Sarah Ferguson's latest move? A quiet act of independence or a royal gamble that could backfire? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.